Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. I'm glad that you're here. If you're watching this when we're not live, because nobody's here yet, because people take a little while to show up to these things. Facebook's got to go out, tell everybody, and then they come in. But if you're watching this right now, you're watching me later. So click on that like button, click on that share button, send some faces and hearts and angry faces and whole faces and all that kind of stuff across the screen because it's awesome. Coming to you every day, every weekday at 12:30, talking about your health. So we got exercise. They said I did mindset stuff. Tough to get it. While it's the present priority has to be, that's right. So you don't just we're learning mindset, but it's not necessarily great for on how mindset works here. But to be how to run some of the errors that I see, like what are some of the how you're not getting yourself hurt is you don't get to start a strength training program if it's not appropriate to you. So please slap that like button, entering. Don't sit there and just be a bystander in the background. But a couple of things we're going to talk about the three-way way in the strength game here. I'm talking about a very tangible way that they get in their own way. And we're going to talk about training age. We're going to talk about percentages. We're going to talk about pro strength program. We're also going to get into Westside did and how Westside was able to, how Louie Simmons was able to become basic strength conditioning in the United States. See, when historically conditioning, really this is extremely new industry. But if you go back far enough, the people that were the strongmen, they were entertainers. Like they would lift heavy things in front of crowds. That, they were like a circus act, right? So later on is when we started to use it for like performance and how society and just the way that our cars to like take us places actually do physical work that kept us in shape, and we don't really have that as much anymore. We've got to push ourselves, otherwise we're going to fall apart. And quality of life, and I think quality of forms quantity of life every time. You had 10 years of life, years of a really shitty life. I'm gonna take 10 years every time. I'd rather not have the shitty life. I'd rather have the incredible life. So exercise, historically, we started out as entertainers, right? So we started out as entertainers, and then it became kind of a performer. Figure out how to get stronger, so that we can sports or better at whatever it is. That's where the word fitness actually came from. Who was the most fit to saddle a horse? Who is the most fit to run a mile? Who's the most fit to throw a spear through some dude all the way over there? Who's the most fit to these tasks? The greatest at everything. Eventually, it was just beating the hell out of everybody else in the Olympics and in the World Games. How are they able to do this? How are they able to just continually beat the crap out of everybody with it? Because really, should be beating the hell out of everybody. Okay, so what happened is a kind of a hairy tale. They give you on there about to get stepped on, so just keep your open mind. But with the slave trade and the way it really set up, basically it's a genetic for performance. The area that it's like Usain, softball, and almost the runners, their lineage can actually be traced back to this one. And it's because when the slave trade was going on, they had the 1,000 biggest, baddest, strongest, fastest men and women in Africa, and they took them and they put them on this island really bad. right? Still put them on, and then so there was 300 of them, approximately. I don't know the validity of the story, but there was 300 of them that revolted 1,000. So you've got the baddest, the biggest, and the baddest just end up basically Usain Bolt, Asaf Powell, all these people are from. They're these big, fast, strong people. We're created because they should be winning it. Every more talent pool, a subpart able to, they're so much better head. It was so advanced, secretive, and we didn't know what was going on. And this isn't like Mario. This is the late 80s. Okay, I think the Brady checked me on that, and I think the 1989. That's all codes about strength and conditioning in different languages in the United States. All of a sudden, the people in the United States are so crazy. They're centuries. They're 200 ahead of us. We've got to catch up. They really screwed up just about everything that they were doing if you look over their manuals. But if you look at what it did, Luis conditioning in the United States. His gym is the strongest gym in the world. His gym, I think it's like 5,000 square feet. I think he's close to 20 guys squatting 1,000 pounds. It's insane. From one little tiny spot in Columbus, Ohio, and he's got these guys that are squatting over 1,000 pounds. How is he doing it? Yeah, he's using drugs. But there's nobody's squatting over 1,000 pounds without drugs. Maybe somebody's squatting over 1,000 pounds without drugs. Anyway, he took what the Russians were doing and he applied it to a power. He did really. It was what we're doing at Grit Gym. What took these really strong people. He did sub-maximal load fashion. And I'm going to get more into that here in a little bit, but that's all he did. And he created this crazy program that everybody is trying to emulate now that has a clue about this stuff. It's clue about this stuff who wants to learn, follows Louis Simmons' model. It's all these other jokers that aren't following that model that aren't getting strong. But you've got a few things here, things that people get in their own way with, like very tangible. I'm not talking about mindset stuff. What are some of the program options out there? Where are some of the resources that I'm coming from? So the 3 ways, and if you guys are just stopping in here, please say hi section. Actually, I think it helps. I don't know if that's true, but me, I like interacting with you guys and hearing from you. And if you slap the like button, it's even more fun. Okay, so there's 3 of us that people get in their way, and one of them is the worst. The other 2 are way too heavy. They're trying every single day in this machismo nonsense. Basically, it's usually bench press, and they're just trying to break a record every day. This got myself injured so much because I started lifting back when I'm like, 12, 13, 14, 15. I just was trying to max out every time. Man, I just wanted to be a big, strong guy. I could not have patience. I didn't have a program sign. I didn't have a coach. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just lifting. And the thing is, you're just going to keep adding weight. Eventually, it doesn't work some ways that we can get over these strength and conditioning hurdles. Because most people, they'll get their first surgery, they'll see progress for about 6 weeks to a year. And then they'll top out and they'll never get any better. And they think they're working so hard and they're like, and they think that that's an accomplishment. When really, if they had some decent programming, they're drastically higher than that. But they think that they're doing really well because they're working hard. Working hard and working smart have to be in combination for strength and conditioning to work. I'm a little dry today. 3 ways that everybody gets. The way trying to max out every time. The other, if you listen, there's a celebrity trainer out there that she gets all kinds. She trains Gwyneth vouch for her. Her name's Tracy Anderson, but she says that that women should never lift over 12 pounds. I think that is insane. I think that is the dumbest goddamn thing. Like, she should get slapped by every in the world. She should get slapped by every female. I mean, you push something out of a tiny little hole between your legs that is almost 12 pounds for somebody. I mean, like, I think I was like 9'8", and I just heard 9. Yeah, not that far away from 12 pounds. Lift an extra 12. You should always stay under 12 pounds. The reasoning is, I've read it's like the muscle doesn't grow, and it's silly. It's really silly. And we'll talk about tensile strength. Really, you don't get stronger from lifting way too light. It's not lifting at all. Strength is, don't get to not go for it. You have to get strong. You have to have strength. If you don't, setting yourself up for injury, you're setting yourself up for all kinds of pain, health. Yeah, our heart is stronger. We're able to be more durable. We're able to live our lives in a completely different fashion than normally what our metabolism works a little bit differently. Did was jog all the time, actually be putting more harm to it than all the time to get strong. Strength is not one of these things. Strength on top of bad movement. Once strength enhances the movement patterns that are appropriate for you. Everybody's got just a little bit of a different movement pattern. Well, the pattern should stay about the same. The how we a little different from person to person. Those are the three. Too heavy, they lift way too light, or they don't lift at all. Like, not lifting at all, I don't think is the worst one. I think the lifting too heavy, because eventually your body is going to get tired of you. It's actually your body wants to learn. This is because sometimes they're like, that can't be. That can't be that that if I lift less, I'll get stronger. We're talking about quality over quantity of it. I'm talking. Your body wants to learn. It doesn't want to be confused. The confusion is ridiculous. You're confused. It needs to learn. Like, when you're a long time, you need a lot of repetition before you're really great at walking. If you think of the mechanics around walking, it's pretty amazing that we can do that. We have pretty small. I mean, even if you had very large, the rest of your body tiny. Like, there's not much around there. It's amazing. So able to be in to be so stable. Muscle confusion is ridiculous. You could do the same exercises every workout for 10 weeks before you ever saw, and still be making progress that whole time. Your body doesn't like confusion. If this is one way that if you want to know if a strength conditioning coach is worth their salt, ask them what they think of muscle confusion. If they're like, yeah, you know that you have an uneducated person. Your body does not want to be confused. It's just not how it works. Your body wants to learn. And if you're lifting too heavy all the time, if you're like, let's say you're trying to do 200 pounds. 200 pounds is your max. Every time you come in, you build up to one set of 200. Your body is screaming at you to, and if it's busy screaming at you to stop, it's unable to learn. Because it's too busy screaming, stop, stop, stop. How good are you at hearing and learning if you're screaming stop? You're not. Your body does the same thing. Your body has to drop it down a little bit. Down 5 quality reps. And then we can speed that up and make that more dull and slow, drive it up fast. Same thing with your squats, same thing with your deadlifts, same thing with all your accessory movements like single leg squats. Less that does more. as your body comes back. Running is the same exact thing. You don't need to practice going slow. You need to practice going fast. One of the things that I talk about is the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise and the hare is not about slow and steady wins the race. It's a misnomer. It's a misunderstanding. That story is about your opponent. It has nothing to do with slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady always loses. No matter what, it's not arguable. Slow and steady loses. Defense wins the race unless and a tortoise doesn't win the race. The rabbit doesn't, unless the rabbit underestimates it. He doesn't win the race. Okay, he loses. So muscle confusion does not. Your muscles do not want to be confused. You don't want to change up your workout every single time. That's stupid. You pretty much like if you come into Grit Gym, we're gonna do. Let's say you have a workout A, B, and a C workout. Let's say so you have 3 lifting. You're gonna keep that workout for 4 weeks, at least 4 weeks. We could take that out to 10. For most beginners, and they would still progress on. Your body wants to learn things, and if you're sitting there trying to bang it to death, it's not going to learn. It's going to have a lot of trouble. Your body doesn't want to be confused. It wants to learn. And if you're trying to go too heavy, it can't learn because it's too busy screaming at you to stop. So you got to listen to your body. That's like sleeping the body thing. No, it's not. Pain is your body saying, "Hey, knock it off. Knock it off, or I'm going to give you something really to think about." And you're going to be sitting in the bed wishing you hadn't done it. Hindsight's 20/20 in that game, and I know that all too well. The line between tough and stupid is not super clear all the department. But that's too heavy. Too light if we don't have a significant stimulus. So if we don't have stimulus, so we need our body thing of substance. You know, like a beginner can lift about 40% and make progress. So let's squat is that would be squat for most people at 100 pounds. Okay, if we could just have them do a 40-pound squat, that's like nothing. If you 40 pounds be like nothing, you can still make progress off of that. Why? Because the body is allowed to learn. Okay, so we'll get into some of this stuff. I don't have a whiteboard, a hand whiteboard, but I have one of these. I'm going to write out some of this stuff here in a little bit. But too light stimulus, not lifting at all, definitely doesn't give us a stimulus. We're jogging. The stimulus that we're creating 2 things. Put stress on the heart, awesome, because we need that. But the second thing that we're creating is having enough strength and stability to deal with the amount of repetitions that you're giving it. So the body's thing that it can grab, and it creates stiffness up that hamstring and low back. Not necessarily a good thing, right? We need strength. We need strength. Something to take into consideration, and your actual. Be able to take a 55-year-old to the same. You can train them similarly, but they're one's gonna change a lot faster than the other one. And what's their training age? So 55-year-old been training 30 years consistently for 1 year, hasn't been off the couch in 6 months. 16-year-old, like this makes a difference. That's really just depends on the person so much that we'll probably get into a different video about that. But percentages. If you read Easy Strength or 5-3-1 or a lot of these kind of stupid and it should go by ranges. We do use to give me a range of what is probably going to be appropriate for that person, and I hold up maximum. So they're deep and subjective. So if you're on a deadlifter, 200-pound deadlifter, and they're trying to get better, week 1, you're not going to go up to 95% of the 1 rep max. That's silly. Why would you do that? A set of 5 max out set for what would that be? A max out set of 5 would be about 85%. So of a 200-pound. So if you're max 200 pounds, you're probably looking at about 170 for 5 reps. We would not even get up to 170 pounds. Does that make sense? The sub max would act like we would actually have 155, 135 for your first week, because we want to learn. We want the body to get a stimulus. We need at least that, like, we need to be approaching that number, but we don't need to, like, the body wants to learn, understand the movement that you're giving it. This, you don't give it time to, it's gonna have some problems with you. So percentage is good. The way that I do them, the range that I use is a number on somebody's sheet. Like we might, like let's say we have that deadlifter, and their max is, let's say, 4 sets of 5. So I'm trying to write this, so this isn't how I would usually write it. So let's say we have a 200-pound deadlift. You know, how much weight are they going to use for each? Let's say we're going to warm up with 135, and then we know that this is week 1, so we don't want to be approaching right. So we know about 155. So we might go 135, 145, 155, 155, like that, right? And usually we wouldn't do this with a deadlift, because deadlift actually is where, for some reason, our body repeats with deadlifts. It doesn't. I use it. Why not do 135, 155, something like that? But even then, we're just making such short jumps that we do it. But that's just an example. You know, week two, you might, let's go down and repetition. Do this a ton of different ways. Then we're gonna do week one, week 2, like that. Okay. So then we might go 135. And we're gonna work up to a 4 rep, which is probably, you know, around like 82%, or my bad, is around 87%. So we're gonna go. So we're right around that, like 175 mark. So maybe 65, 155, 145. So we got 145, 135. Okay. This is just I'm just throwing this together. I have no clue. This is just an idea. This is one way that makes a lot more sense. So what they're doing, they're taking that 200 pound and they're trying to go up to it, and maybe they get 1 rep at 200 pounds in their last set. They should have stayed at 5 reps and let the body learn. Maybe they don't crawl out of the gym that day, actually felt good, and they can come back again the next day. And then week 2, we're going up to 165, because we're still staying in that, like, position. We're coming in, we're probably going to go on, let's say 200, that's 182. So we're going to stay at, we go up to 175, 165, we start at 135, build up to that what we say, 175 mark. Now we have a 200 pound, so this is just within 4 weeks. I bet you most of the thing on regular this, and you use it, progress on and than your 2. So let's say okay, well, we're going to build up to we're going to actually do a max. We're going to beat 200 pound max that we've never had before. We've never done it before. So we're going to set a goal for 205. We're going to hit 185, hit 175. We're going to hit 135. You see, this is what people are messing. This is like super, super, super simple. I'm simplicity. I'm making this super, super simple. And there's plenty of people that talk about conditioning, you know, that you can blow this up. So that's sub-maximal loads. That's how strength works. You have to lift a little bit less, but you can't lift so much training stimulus. So you need something like this so you can build up to a number that can actually go. But change, you know, because someday on week 3, you might blow it up and just be like, I don't want to relinquish that. So you can go plus 10% on that week. You know, some days you might come in and you're coming off of a 3-day. You need to drop 20%, go down, hit them, get some extra rest, do some recovery. 5-3-1, basically you do 5 reps on a certain number of sets, and you just work your percentages. It's a great book, but you're lifting a sub-maximal load in a dynamic fashion. After easy strength is the same thing. You don't lift a weight that, like, you got to go heavy, but until if it starts feeling heavy today, you stop right there and you're done. Back and do it the next day, and you come back and do it the next day. Strength is about practice. It's a skill. It's something that you build. Strength is not submitting your body. Your body doesn't need to be into getting stronger. It needs to practice this. The works. You're just taking really the Olympic lifting works using sub-maximal loads. They're still doing it wrong. It's really sad. Program design and strength, you have to practice. The body does not want to be confused. Muscle confusion is one that's out there right now. Your body wants to learn. You got to let it have time to learn in a practical manner. Too heavy, too light, not at all big problems. Training age matters. The way that we do it at Grit Gym, basically bust people off into 3 categories: or the beginner, or the intermediate, or the advanced. It depends. Some people might walk in here advanced, but most people are going to probably walk in here as beginners. So you have to give them the right exercise and the right amount of weight within that exercise. Percentages are dumb unless you keep them subjective. Okay, so we're just going through like a rundown. Some days you can go a +10, don't go above that. Some days you can go up 10%, much higher than that. That's it. Some days you're going to have to drop down 20%. I give you a 30% range that you can stay within. You want to stay with the stimulus. The biggest mistake that lifters make is to lift too. Their body can't respond. Body has to learn. Taking sub-maximal, you're taking weights that are less than your max, your 1 rep max. And you're doing them in a dynamic fashion. This is the same reason Phelps. We think Michael Phelps is like the greatest swimmer of all time, right? Every one of his records, everything that he has accomplished in this sport will be demolished within 10 years because swimming is such an underdeveloped training sport. We have, and all the records right now in the endurance space, all your marathons, and that kind of stuff. We figured out that speed is the thing. You wouldn't go out. You know what would happen if you went and trained for a marathon and you ran? Your body's going to set you down. It's going to say, "Hey, knock this off. We're done." Okay. You'd go 2 miles faster, and then you'd rest for a little bit. 2 miles fast. That's still 6 miles. That's 1 mile. Slow and steady does not win the race. The tortoise does not meet the hare. That moral of the story is about not underestimating your opponent. Speed wins, strength wins, power wins every single time unless you underestimate your opponent every single time. Sub-maximal loads work. You have to do a little bit less so that your body can learn. You're trying to do more all the time, your body's going to set you down. But we're right at that 30-minute mark. Thanks for my notes. I'll get more. Next time, so if you can learn, but appreciate you being here. Thanks. And if you guys please can take the time, sharing for us is obscurity. Like, we can't get these messages out to people because there's a lot of confusion around exercise, nutrition, mindset, and recovery and health. I get that message out to people. So hit that share button. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being. We will tomorrow.